Hello guys, me here again doing a breakdown of GBPUSD starting from the monthly time frame all the way towards the M15. So onto this chart, we can clearly see that price has been making. You can see that's a break of this valid pullback. You can see this here another break, and now price reversed back and took this high of our recently formed valid pullback. So that's the inducement. Then as you can see, reversed back, breaking past this swing point, creating a valid break of structure. Of course, that's a bearish break of structure. So exactly this means that we have a trading range, of course, ranging from that high all the way to this low. So let's do this. Let's do that here quickly. So we can clearly see that that's our high, and of course this one here will be the trading range low. So exactly right there, now we have a trading range, the monthly trading range. So now let's mark our inducement. Okay, so onto this range, you can clearly see that this here is the minor inducement because that's the recently formed valid pullback. So that makes the minor inducement. And if that's the minor inducement, then our external liquidity makes the major inducement. Okay, so if I am to mark the order flows right here, I can clearly see that this one here is our extreme order flow. So exactly right there. So this makes our extreme order flow, and you can clearly see that price mitigated it here, gave a reaction, but then failed the first reaction. And I can clearly see that this one here is our extreme order block. So exactly right there. And let me change the color and make it red. So that makes the extreme order block inside our extreme order flow, of course, and you can clearly see price gave a reaction and also failed that one too. And yeah, you can clearly see that price is now reacting of this high exactly right here. Yep, so price is reacting of that high. You can see after taking out that buy side liquidity resting above this pullback high, you can clearly see price is now heading down. But this buy side liquidity is not any core liquidity level, so this does not explain the fact that price may continue down all the way breaking past this. Price can actually, this is just to give a reaction into this area, and then probably price will buy towards taking this towards taking this major inducement. So now let's get to the weekly time frame so that we can get more data. Okay, so right here, something interesting on the weekly time frame. I can see that there is this hidden POI or this POI on the extreme of the weekly time frame. So this means that price can actually reverse from this, or if it fails that, then it may look forward for the major inducement or the external liquidity, of which is also the major inducement as well. So price is now reacting from this after the sip of this buy side liquidity. So this is just to give a reaction towards this weekly zone. By the way, these are just as well, this is just liquidity, the highs, like the liquidity resting above these highs. The buy side liquidity can make price to consolidate a little bit, or that's the liquidity price may take to get this and give the ultimate reversal, or also give another reaction and take this external liquidity before making that ultimate reversal towards this low. Towards this external liquidity. So that's what I'm looking forward for in the long term. But right now, we need to see like what price is doing currently, because that will take a hell lot of years for price to do that. Okay, so now like right here, we can clearly see that on the weekly time frame, if I am to mark the structure, I can see that price has taken out this low. So let me change this to the weekly. Yep, exactly right there. Price took this low. You can see an additional one here, but I'm only interested with the recent one because that's the inducement. Then price made a major. You can see there, made not a major, but actually a break of structure, a bullish break of structure. This one here becomes the low of the trading range, this weekly trading range. Of course, if I extend it here, you can see that. And also, yeah, you can see that After price mitigated the extreme, you can see that this one here was the change of character, of which into this weekly time frame it is the inducement. Yeah, and since this is the, of course, there are people who are selling from this area because price had mitigated the extreme. Yep, but you can clearly see it failed that. So this means that this is no longer the change of character, but rather the inducement on this trading range, this weekly trading range. I can see on this trading range that this one here was the decisional. You can see that that was the decisional order block. So I'll be using the color blue, that was the decisional order block. And the engineering liquidity and all of that, I can see that price now becomes so hard to identify all of that. But you can see price, where price was reversing from, probably there is a valid POI here on the lower time frame. So let's see on the daily time frame. And yeah, exactly right here, we can clearly see that the most extreme one was this one here. So that was the extreme, exactly right there. So that was the extreme. It was the hidden one, because you can clearly see right here below that there is no any. So returning back to the weekly, then I can get to see that price actually mitigated that and gave that ultimate reversal towards this break of structure, exactly right there. And that break of structure actually confirms that this extreme POI or this extreme order block failed. So exactly right there, that's the break of structure onto the weekly time frame. And we are currently in a new trading range, with this one here being the low of that trading range. So yeah, the analysis is pretty good. All right, so onto this trading range, the new trading range, which ranges from this low all the way to that high. We can clearly see that this one here was the major inducement. So you can clearly see that this one here was the major inducement, and this one here is okay. This is not the decisional because it is not the one that caused the break of structure. So this is just a weak POI or an inducement trap. So I'll be using that color. The inducement, the inducement, I'm anticipating to see it somewhere here. Of course, this here was mitigated, so I'll find the hidden one inside here. So it will be somewhere there. So we'll be seeing on the daily. Of course, let me shift to the daily time frame so that we get to see where is the, yeah. So you can clearly see right here, this one here is the, yeah. So exactly right here, this here is the order block, the decision order block. Of course, on this range there is no any order flows, so that makes the decision order block. So that's a valid zone, exactly right there. So I'll be returning back to the weekly, and you can clearly see that the zone is yet mitigated, exactly right here. So the reason is why I'm picking this. Remember the decision order block, it is the one that caused the break of structure, and you can clearly see that this here is the one that caused the break of structure, exactly right there. So this one here is the high of our trading range, exactly right there. And yeah, if I am to mark, of course, I know someone else is saying, why haven't I check the order flows and all of that? If you see like this trading range, all the order flows here we are mitigated. You can clearly see that this here was the extreme order flow, and I'll be using this color, okay, but this is mitigated, so this means it's invalid. Shifting to the next one, of course, it was this one here, which it was the decisional, but it was also mitigated. So getting to the next one, of which it was created after the break of structure, also mitigated. So here there was no any valid order flows, and that's the reason as to why I shifted directly towards the order blocks, like towards marking the order blocks, and ignored the order flows because they are all invalid. So now here I can see the extreme order block, exactly right there. That's the weekly extreme order block. And also I can see that this one here is what we call the engineering liquidity. So exactly right there, that's the engineering liquidity. Okay, so now I have marked my valid zones, and okay, something interesting in here I can see that price has taken out this high and made a break of structure. But anyway, this will be seeing it on the daily time frame. Yeah, so right now we are done with the weekly. So now to get to see if price will be continuing buying. Of course, right now I am waiting, like because price has yet mitigated this valid zone, so probably I'm waiting to see like where price will be reversing from, so that now if price achieves it there, then now we will be buying all the way towards this weekly zone. Or if this weekly zone fails, or if price decides, let's say, okay, so I mean somewhere here price do just extends it, makes, so now we'll be knowing where price will be reversing from if we dive deeper into the lower time frame, if that's the daily and the 4 hour, of course. Then after that, now we'll be buying all the way towards this zone. If price will decide to give a good reaction into this trading range, of course we'll be continuing the buying, or price can just give a minor reaction, and of course does that, or price can actually respect this and make that ultimate move all the way towards the external liquidity. But that will take a lot of time. We are only interested with this here, this part. So let's dive deeper again into the daily time frame. And right here onto the daily time frame, now I can clearly see that price has taken out this high. I mean, you can see that's the recently formed valid pullback. And also, in addition to that, price also took this high, but we know that we are only interested with the recent one. So if price has taken out this recent and reverses back and break the structure, I mean breaks past that swing point, then that makes the break of structure. Okay, so right here I can clearly see that this one here is our trading range high, and of course this one here is the trading range low. So exactly right there, that makes the trading range low. If I am to mark the inducement, I can clearly see that this one here is the minor inducement. Of course, the trading range high will be our major inducement. Of course, this one here will be the major inducement. This reversal occurred after the mitigation of this bearish order block up here. You can see after price mitigated that bearish order block, you can see it gave that reaction all the way to the downside. I can see this extreme order block. The reason is to why I'm not marking the order flows, because the same as previous, you can see that this one here is the extreme of which it was mitigated. So I can actually use this color to represent it is invalid. Again, coming to this next one, you can see it was mitigated here, and now the extreme is this one, but I will not be using it as the extreme because you can clearly see that it occurred before the inducement. So this means that this one here is now like not a valid one. We'll be using this. Of course, it is also the one that led to the break of structure, so this can also be the decisional or the extreme, but I will use it as a weaker one because it's not, it will just cause some reaction and then price fails, because you can see that this is the inducement and we cannot sell without the inducement. So this here, okay, so now I'll be, or let me just leave it for the case of but I'll change the color. I will not be using this color, I'll be using the invalid one, and I'll be deleting these ones. Okay, I'm not deleting that, I'm deleting those. And right now I can see that this one here is the decisional, of which I will not be using it as the decisional because it occurred before the inducement. You can see this is the inducement, so this is not a valid one, and it will just cause a reaction as you can see here, and then later fail that. The next reaction, of course, it will be from this order block, which is just a weaker one because it is not even the one that caused the break of structure. So that's an SMT. This one here is the one that caused the break of structure. As you can see right here, it is the order block that caused the break of structure, and that's the reason as to why I'm using it as the decisional, but I will be using it as a reaction zone and not a valid zone, because you can see it occurred before this minor inducement. So right now we can clearly see everything is aligning good. So now let's shift to the 4-hour time frame, and I can clearly see that price has been making break of structures. Exactly right here we can see this break of structure to the upside. So I'll be using this color for the H4, so you can see that break of structure. I can clearly see price taking out the inducement, mitigating the decisional, and also making another break of structure exactly right there. We can even measure the length of that retracement. You can clearly see deep enough past the 0 point, or made it the 0.38. so again, you can clearly see right here price has taken out the inducement, so exactly right there. So the inducement is that yeah, exactly right there. Again, made a break of structure, so exactly right there, that's the break of structure. That's the major inducement. After price has taken out the major inducement, exactly right there, reversed back and made a break past that, and we can clearly see that the retracement is deep. Of course, you can see past the 0.38, so that's deep enough to qualify the break of structure. And right now we are in this trading range. Of course, exactly right here, you can see that this one here is the trading range low. This one here is the trading range high, and price has mitigated that SMT. So we are looking forward to buy towards the minor inducement, because we know the minor inducement is our next POI, or a point of interest, or the core liquidity level of which price may decide to take it out before making the ultimate reversal towards this daily external liquidity. So right now we can clearly see that price has taken out the major inducement. Of course, you can see this recently formed valid pullback. It occurred after the break of structure. We can also see that this order flow was mitigated, so this means we are not interested with the order flow right now. So of course this is mitigated, it's invalid, so we are interested with the order block, and you can clearly see that this is the extreme order block as well as the decision order block, because it is the one that caused the break of structure. You can clearly see this is the order block that caused the break of structure. So right here, this here is the mitigation. This is a combination, a sweep of the major inducement plus a mitigation of the decisional or the extreme. I'll call it the extreme because it is the one on the extreme. There is no any valid one here. So exactly right here now, this confirms the buy all the way towards this high. So now, seeing this, then I will need some, of course, lower time frame confirmation. If I am to buy off this area, then I will have a small risk to reward. Of course, this will give me, you can see maybe I can fix this to a 1:2, but a 1:2, okay, for all that analysis sounds like, So now let's get to the M15 so that we can get that lower time frame entry. Exactly right here, upon mitigation, upon the sweep, you can clearly see that this one here is the break. You can see that here, this is the recently formed valid pullback, of which now will act as the change of character. And exactly right here, I don't see any inducement. Of course, this one here will be the low. So it's either price to come for this external liquidity, or price does this, create like breaks past this high, so that it can make this low a major inducement, then reverses back, takes out this major inducement, mitigates this POI, and then reverses back, breaking past that. So actually what I'm meaning is this: if price comes and break past that, this low here will be, or will act as a major inducement. And of course you can clearly see, if that's the case, then this candle, of course this here is our extreme order block, exactly right there. So this creates the valid pattern for the entry. So you can see change of character, major inducement, mitigation of the extreme POI. So we can buy from this area, so exactly, or we can just buy there. Of course, since it involves the major inducement, then the stop loss can be there or some few pips below. And then of course you'll be targeting the H4 external liquidity, of which it is this one as your TP1, or you can extend it all the way to this one, and this will give you a 1:7. Or if you're not greedy, you can just use this high here as your TP1, and then your TP final on this one. Or you can use TP, how many TPs? 3. Or after this here as the TP1, this one here as the TP2, and then final, that's the TP3. But I'm actually recommending this one here as the TP final, because price can actually come all the way there to somewhere in between here and decide to reverse back, and that will take will make it long for you to hit the TP. So right now you can clearly see that, of course, price can decide not to create this pattern and decide to use the low as the external, as the major inducement. What I mean is this: price can decide to do this. So price can decide to reverse back, come all the way to our major inducement, then now make the ultimate buy. So now this means you'll be buying after price creates this sweep. Of course, a valid sweep, if you see that valid sweep, of which you will still confirm it using the RSI. So yeah, that's how we'll be doing it. But anyway, price can actually do something like that. Of course, yeah, something like that, and that will be your entry. If let's say now you want to not miss the entry, and you can just place it right there, stop loss, some few pips below here, so that now you can give the room for the sweep of this major inducement. So yeah, a good room. So then after that, now of course your TP1 there, and then your TP final exactly right there. That will give you a 1:4, which is a good risk to reward. So guys, this is my analysis, and this is my entry. So I'm anticipating a buy upcoming Monday, and yeah, so I can see that on the weekly time frame right here, after price has mitigated this extreme POI, so I was expecting that this low here, at least on the RSI, the momentum to the bullish side to be less. So I was anticipating that this, so if I do this on the RSI, you can clearly see that this here was a higher high, and also on the RSI, it was a higher high. So this means we have a buying pressure. But let's say now on the RSI, it was a lower low, then in that case, it will be a selling pressure. And at least now that will give me like a doubt of if price will continue higher and price may be going lower, confirming that it was a sweep of this high. But you can clearly see that that wasn't the case, and you can clearly see that the RSI is mimicking the price. So this means that there is some bullish momentum. We know that the RSI, it actually measures the momentum. So this means there is some bullish momentum, and price may continue higher and higher and higher. So price will probably come here, do that, and then after that, of course, I said you need to come to a valid zone before it does the ultimate break past this, then come to mitigate this and see if there is some valid reversal reaction there. If there is, probably we'll monitor that zone and see if price will make the ultimate reversal or will fail that zone, and of course come all the way towards this major inducement, and that's where now we'll be looking forward for the ultimate reversal, or price decides to make a liquidity run, and that will shift our bias to bullish. So any of that can happen, guys, but anyway, that will take long to happen. And what we are interested right now is this one here, and this is my analysis. That's my entry. Yep. And of course, yeah, something like this is what I'm looking forward upcoming tomorrow, of which is Monday. So yeah, exactly right here, guys. That's my entry, that's my analysis, and yeah, so let's see what Monday unfolds.